'Cause there's no need to explain. I know what you wanna say. Don't you say?
Okay, so you guys met when you were very young.
Yes.
Do you remember your first impressions of each other?
Oh, well, I was like in love with Brayden because we went to Cheesecake Factory with our moms. We each ordered chicken fingers and honey mustard and looked at each other and we're like,
Yeah, we were like, wait, this is
fate.
This is fate.
I'm gonna be friends with you forever. That was great. And then also the first night we like hung out, we just related on watching things that we weren't supposed to. Like South Park, we were watching like Freddy versus Jason. I remember like
very young people.
Yeah, we were like 9 years old. This was like a couple years ago. So yeah, first impression. And then,
First Mr. Cole is your smile.
The smile?
Because his smile when he was a kid was so just...
so round.
I remember like, this is the nicest kid I've
That's
ever
so
met,
cute.
and he's so talented. Like he's so good at drums because we met in like a music program where you like play. We met Cole, and you like practice for 6 weeks with random kids, and you play a couple covers at the show at the end, and that's how we met Cole.
Good times.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, we had great first impressions of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, classic times.
Classic
What
times.
Cool. Their smiles, what was it?
Their smiles were
What drew you in?
glowing.
Not up to his standards.
No, it's just
Yeah, they were good.
What was your first impression of Brayden and like in me?
I barely remember.
I know.
I feel like I was kind of scared of you guys. Because you guys were like good friends, and I was like, oh, these dudes are like tight. How do I like become friends with the two of them?
Well, see, we thought you were so cool.
I thought you were so cool.
It's mutual.
So was it like a summer program or something?
Mm-hmm. It's literally called Join the Band.
Join the Band.
In
Oh, wow.
LA. Yeah, and
And it worked.
Yeah?
we joined the band.
We joined the band.
Got a band.
We joined the
Never
band.
quit. Never stopped.
Okay, so fast forward to now, we've got the Nothing Happens, your debut album.
Yep.
So the title seems kind of like a strong statement. So what does that mean to you?
Well, the title Nothing Happens originated when we were in our teen years. We were probably like, 15, 16? And we'd always joke around because we'd been a band for like basically 4 years at that point. And we'd try so hard and play all these shows and like do all this stuff and like nothing would ever happen for us. We'd just kind of joke around about it. And like not in like a bum. We were just like, oh, like nothing really ever happens for us. Like, and the joke became like whatever our first album comes out someday, whatever, we should name it that no matter what. And so we committed to that, but as we worked on the record and kept that in mind as a sort of theme, it took on a totally different meaning where, you know, as we all grew up together and like you face a lot of different good things and bad things, and what's good to know is that no matter what, now that we're here and we're kind of like, we have like sort of come of age, it feels like all those bad things just didn't even really happen at all. Like you emerge like a better, wiser person.
Yeah. So no matter what happens, overall, like in the grand scheme of the universe, it doesn't affect anything. Like it affects everything. I feel like it affects everything in your life because everything's domino effect. But in the grand scheme of things, like nothing is affected by anything that happens.
Yeah,
to
which
you.
is equally as like comforting as it is like terrifying,
Yeah.
because we're like the tiny little ants in the like
Cosmic anthill.
the cosmic, but the cosmic anthill. It's a good band name.
That's our second album title, Cosmic.
we dropped the clue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Probably why.
Cool. So I know you have some songs from like a long time ago, I heard on the album. So which song took the longest to come together and which one came together the quickest?
I feel like What You Like had been around for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't take the longest to come together.
Yeah, exactly.
That was written quickly a long time ago.
Like what age?
So you've been
Yeah, it was when
we were playing that at the Narwhals shows.
Yeah, we were.
We don't speak of the band names.
Quickest Rate was probably the first song of the album, because that song literally is just two songs that Dylan and I came up with at different times. So it was just like I came up with all the music, and then I showed the guys, and then Dylan came up with took a melody from another one of his songs onto that, and it was done. So So that was like super easy and super quick. Longest I think was Ice Cold Pool, at least for me, or
Yeah.
Sidelines to write.
Yeah, it's also Are You Bored Yet actually too. Like that song, it didn't really take a long time to write. That was like one of the newer written ones, but we had like an entirely different intro to the song. And then like at the like literally right before we went into mixing, we were like, whoa, wait, no, we need to go back to the we like it like totally changed the entire thing at the last second.
And it was like a constant like back and forth of which intro would make it. Like there were two different intros, like completely different intros, different vibes, different everything.
Like the whole time?
The whole
I mean,
we
like,
wrote the song as the one intro, so not the one that you're used to. We wrote
Yeah.
the song as that intro, and then one day, like our producer was always just like, yeah, I feel like the song, like something's missing from the song, I don't know what it is. Then I came up with the idea of putting another part in the beginning and changing the whole arrangement or whatever. And then John, our producer, was like, I now have like an emotional connection to the song because of that. And we're like, oh cool, we committed. And then Dylan was like, I don't like this intro anymore, I want to go back to the other one. And then we're like, okay, so it was a constant back and forth of like, okay, we're switching it, we're switching back, we're switching back. And then I ultimately was like, you know what, I'll go with, Dylan, I think you're right. And I kind of agreed with him. Then the last second, like literally the day before mixing, or mixing could have already started or whatever, Cole's like, guys, no, we have to do the other one. Like, we have to. And we're like, okay. And then now I'm so happy we did, because I think it's way better.
So you think you made the right call?
Yes,
on that?
1 million.
Well, we made 90%.
Oh, 90% of the right call.
I still would change a huge thing about the intro that
Oh, no.
bothers me so much.
Do you want to reveal what you would change about the intro?
I wish it just started without those intro guitar chords. Like I wish it just started as bum bum.
Yeah.
Because the flow, because we focus so much on the flow and the rhythm between songs. Like if the way the songs go, it you can't really tell, but every single song has rhythm. So like on Sidelines, and it's like dun 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 dun. It always, like, the whole album has rhythm, like silent rhythm, no matter what. We always make sure it comes in on the beat of the song before it. So if it came in after Sidelines, we had a version like this. This is how it was gonna be.
It was mastered like
For,
that.
like, the
It was
track list?
mastered like this, and then Cole and Brayden or whatever,
No,
whoever,
it was like Austin Rice.
okay,
Austin,
whoever, were like, no, like we missed the guitar riff intro thing. I was like,
Yeah.
damn it, fine. And so we like mastered that version, but it works so much better if it's like dun dun dun. Bum, bum.
Yeah.
It was so much
So
better.
I should make like a playlist.
Yes.
with
We're gonna release that
What's
version.
funny too is like the label's like, no, it's better that way, and the radio cuts
For
off
radio.
the guitar into
Yeah.
for radio, and the radio
my
cuts it
God.
off. Like, that is
It doesn't make any
right.
sense.
It almost
Does that
makes me
feel
like
good?
hate
Yeah,
our
yeah,
album
yeah.
because I'm like, this would have been so much better.
Hey, there's always the 20-year remastered where we take
Yeah.
off.
Well, I think we're putting out like a radio edit of the song, which
And
is
the only
literally
difference
just
is
that.
the intros.
Yeah,
Without
without
the,
the-
so I'm
Just
gonna
the beginning of the song.
I'm gonna make sure I tell everyone, make your playlist with that version and not listen to the album that way.
So
It's so
funny.
much better.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
Yeah.
that's my biggest regret of the whole album is that.
Yeah. So like, what kind of conversations go into making like the track list?
What'd you say? Sorry.
Like the track list?
The track list.
What about it?
What
I missed it.
What kind of
Because you
conversations?
guys, I've
Oh.
heard you mention before, like that's like really important to you, the flow of the album, and I can definitely hear it. Like, it has.
I mean, that's
Except that one.
that's
Yeah.
something
You were
that's,
definitely-
that's something we're all very passionate about. I feel like Dylan like is really passionate about it, takes the reins, even though I'm really passionate about it as well. But I think Dylan like really goes through it like just over and over again and like make sure it's good. Make sure it's good. Make sure. Makes sure. I put the S in the wrong word.
Yeah, I feel like that's something too that we were mindful of, like before we even started recording, because like there were certain ideas about the track list that sort of dictated, like from the very beginning,
There was,
like
yeah.
that whole like idea was fleshed out over a very long period of time. Because
Right.
the first song, "Only Friend," has this like guitar thing that fades in, and then the last song, "Do Not Wait," ends on like a slower version of that fades out. So then like
Yeah.
if you play the record on repeat, it's as if it's like never ending. It like fades out on the same thing and then fades back in on the first song again.
Yeah.
And that's an idea that we had.
Cool.
Yeah, it's like that had been an idea for like before we even started tracking.
Yeah.
I feel like that dictated a lot of what we did for the track list.
Yeah, we knew I was gonna open it close. I feel like in I'm Full, we knew it was gonna ring into Do Not Wait. Like when we were recording it, we had a track list in mind, but that ended up, it was an 11-song version of the album, but it was 2 songs on there that aren't on it now, and it's still 11 songs. So then we had a 13-song version of the album, and the last minute before we locked everything in, we took 2 off, and it worked so much better, I think, because of it. But
And I remember our producer, John Congleton, we took off his favorite song on the album.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
Any
That was
chance
the best
we'll
one.
hear that?
Yes, that'll be coming out. That'll be coming out.
Cool.
Yeah, it's out on vinyl right now.
And it's one of those.
Yeah, okay. I was just worried about
Yeah, no, the other two
I
songs.
still have a lot of
The other two
Cool.
songs on the album were called Just Like a Movie and Bad Remake, and then we had an extra one called Trust Fall that we love very much. That it just like sort of didn't feel like it fit within the world of the album, or it almost felt like sort of a recurring theme of some other songs where it's like it doesn't have to be there no matter how much we love the song, so let's just like let it live on its own. But Bad Remake, I feel like no one will just ever hear. But we'll see.
Yeah,
Maybe someday.
maybe
See.
parts of that song will reemerge
Yeah.
in other songs.
So, lyrics, you all write the lyrics, right?
Yeah,
Or I heard Cole might be getting into...
Yeah.
we all kind of dabble in lyrics.
Yeah.
So, like, how does that collaboration come about?
Oh,
Like, how does that
I think
work?
it varies so much.
Lyrics
Lyrically,
I feel like
is it, like, one person, or do you all work on
here's
songs?
how I think it goes down. So I work off the dome. So what that means is I can only write lyrics or sing lyrics off the top of my head, and that's kind of
Okay.
how I work in life. Whenever I speak, I never know what I'm saying. So like right now, I
If
don't
it,
know what
if
I'm
it
saying.
works.
If it works. So like any lyric I sing that I wrote, literally I did not think of it at all because I can't think. If I try to think about lyrics, I'm going down a rabbit hole that is just at the end of time and spit me out.
Is that
a
just
different
the
universe.
state you're constantly in, or is that something you have to, like, get into?
It's pretty much the state I'm constantly in. It's almost like just free flowing improv, which I
Yeah.
like. So I feel like any lyric I sing is usually a stem of that, or you just gibberish random things, and then you try to dissect what it means later, and then you can
Yeah.
actually maybe think about it and write what you think makes more sense. And I think Dylan kind of works the opposite way, where he's so good at like piecing very specific words together that are more like thought out. I'm just going off my view of Dylan's process. He could be totally have a different opinion. But if like Dylan works really well, like thinking about it and like walking back and forth in the backyard, like actually like thinking what he wants to say. And I don't know how you come up with lyrics. I mean, do you kind of like spit them out, or do you like think really hard about them?
All my gibberish ends up being the same, which is funny. Like I always say the same.
I do
phrase.
too.
Yeah,
I
the
do
yeah,
same
like my
phrase.
gibberish-
Why I can't
always
do it off the
say-
dome because I would say the same.
Yeah, like I
thing.
could never freestyle rap because I'm so not off the dome. Like,
Mhm.
It's always like I don't even. I don't even is what I
yeah,
always
I
say.
don't even, or I don't know.
I don't
or,
know.
like,
I don't know.
it's like I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I like to sit down and like try and write. But then it just becomes emo, and then like you start questioning everything.
Well, it's the song called Trust Fall that's not out. That's like a mixture of like the dome and the thoughts. Because I went into the booth and just sang random stuff, and then that night we went to Dylan's place, and then we made sense of the gibberish, and then the song, the lyrics were done that night.
Oh,
So it was like a very interesting. Like I could be like, you know this god awful sound. Like I could just do that, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, you know this god awful song. You kind of like you kind of pretend.
Is that from the song?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the song.
yeah,
Yeah. So
Awesome.
so it's just all off the dome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at the who wrote which
Yeah.
lyrics.
Yeah.
Oh.
Definitely gonna see which ones came off the dome.
That's the next album title, by the way.
Off the
Dome.
Off the dome.
Under the
Or
dome.
Cosmic Ant.
Or
Yeah.
Cosmic Hill.
We're going back and
Yeah.
forth.
Uh-huh.
Or Under the
Well-
Dome, the Cosmic Ant.
Yeah.
the dome.
I love it.
Under the Dome.
Okay, so I heard you guys are doing some of the light show for the tour.
Light design.
Light design.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So like,
I was
how
like-
do you? Prepare?
You're running off the stage
Yeah.
and like
Yeah,
It was
no.
like pyrotechnics. Yeah.
Why was it important? It's like a sort of 3-part. 'Cause I thought it was really cool. So like, how do you prepare for that? Why was it so important for you guys to be involved with that? And what inspires your light design?
I'll just say that the reason that I really wanted to make sure that we had a good light show and like something that was because on our last tour it was definitely much smaller, so certain venues, like when we were in Toronto last year, that venue like killed it with the lights and it was really inspiring, like just lots of strobes and like this is sick and it made the show feel that much better. But then certain venues you'll get there and it's just like one house light on and nothing changes and you're just like, it definitely can impact a show. Like it makes you feel like you have to give more and like push harder, which we wanted consistency and we want it to like feel like, I feel like it's really exciting when you can see a smaller young band in a smaller room and feel like that show could have taken up a much larger space. That's how I want these shows to feel. So that's what I'll say, unless you we get more. But
Yeah. I mean that's yeah.
But the process for it was interesting. That was new too, because you have to really program the lights to match the songs. So it's like we set up a main set list that like we figured we would play the most, which has now changed a lot, which is hilarious. And I'm so sorry for the guys doing our lights landed, but we program it and we were in like this space, sort of a studio space for 3 days, just playing with the lights and programming them and looking at it. It's definitely a process getting it all right, but. Yeah, we just go and give our input and like tell what colors we think would work, and like it's fun. Like I'm excited to, if we're lucky enough to have the shows grow over time, I'm excited to work off that more and more and see what we can do like, to make it even bigger.
Yeah, I'm happy we're getting this experience now because it's definitely the lights are still on like sort of a smaller scale.
Yes,
like you're saying.
exactly.
But like we saw the 1975 a couple times at Coachella.
Oh my god.
Like their whole the whole thing was like, damn, like this is like, yeah, just like Tame Impala bass line. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
2 minutes? Okay.
Got it. But yeah, 1975 was very inspiring for lights because it was
And
just
Tame Impala, Jesus.
Oh my god,
insane.
yeah.
Like yeah, so we're getting experience now to what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you've talked about wanting Wallows to be more of an end to your brand with music at the center of it. So, how has that shaped what you've already done for the band, and what are your plans with that in the future?
I think it's another one of those things that if we're lucky enough to have this keep growing, that means that there will be more sort of, like, it sounds weird, but there'd be more money involved, and it could like then we could actually take money and like put it into, instead of just merch, more of like clothing lines or more of a Wallows brand or like a skateboard line, like with partnering with some sort of like company or whatever. Like it's definitely, that's sort of inspiring to us, and like make some short films, just like what we can do to sort of make it more of a brand that other artists can pull off so well. It requires more money and more time, so once we have more money and more time, we'll do it. But we already are like, it's sort of different, but we have like exclusive shirts at Urban Outfitters, which is cool and kind of the closest thing to that so far. And we also made a sort of limited run of shoes with Vans. So we made shoes with Vans that will be coming out at some point soon.
Sometime, yeah.
I don't know, it's sort of a long process making that, but we're already starting it a little bit, which feels exciting and inspiring. So.
Yeah.
Amazing. Should we do the photos, or I have one more question?
I feel like you can probably do that
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
Rapid
So I know Brayden and Dylan, you've done a lot of acting as well as music. So what do you get creatively out of acting that you don't get from music, and from music that you don't get from acting? Like, what do each bring? Or Cole, I won't discredit what you did in the 1984 film music video,
yep.
so you can chime in.
I don't know what I get creatively from acting that I don't in music, because I've been doing acting we've both been doing acting for so long that like it just sort of, I couldn't really tell you. That sounds kind of bad, but I feel like my creative outlet entirely is music. There's definitely a comfortability in acting, like I know what that is, I've done it for so long. I think for that it's like a comfortability that I get from acting. I'm just like, I know what I'm doing, I know what this is, like I've done this for so long, whereas in music it's like, there's nerves and it actually feels like that's a different experience. But,
I think I'm the complete opposite. There's more nerves than acting for me. I don't really, it's more like I feel more confident in music, so it's like less. So I feel like creatively, music's where I like get the inspiration and get the creativeness, and acting's more of just like a interesting, kind of just doing someone else's work vibe. So it's just different. It feels like if you don't like the project, then there's not passion in it, and then it's just like you're just doing it, and then you just feel gross and you feel weird. But the music, it's like you're kind of trying to only do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So.
but I like that I feel the nerves in music, because
Yeah.
the fact that I feel so comfortable in acting is probably what makes me feel less inspired a lot of the time. Whereas like in the music, if I felt super comfortable and like whatever, I'd probably just be less inspired and be like, yeah, whatever, because that's sort of how I am on the other end.
Yeah, so just keep pushing yourself.
I like that I have to feel like I have to push myself in music, you know.
And stuff that I feel too. Definitely don't mean
Yeah.
comfortable as in like, oh fuck it. I'm just
Yeah.
more like, oh yeah, like let's do it. Like I'm so stoked.
Brain thinks we're the best.
Yeah.
Oh no, definitely not. A lot of room to grow.
That's gonna be our headline.
A lot of room to grow.
Brayden from Wallows thinks he's the best.
He's the king ant of the cosmic ant hill.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.